Okay, well, today we actually jumped ahead. So we got a bit of wood in here. This should be almost enough to keep this place warm for the whole winter. We got a little bit of electric heat going too when we're not here for 24 or more hours, 36, 48 hours, back-to-back storms. So the electric heat keeps the temperature just above freezing, and then this kicks in when we're here and brings it up nice and comfortable. And right in the back corner here, it's really dark in this back corner of the shop, but that's the wood really close to the stove. The wood stove is right behind that blue panel. I put that blue sheet metal up against this wood pile just to keep any sparks or anything from jumping over there when we're gone. So it's a little added protection. So today I'm mounting some winter tires. I've got some studded tires I just bought. I bought them last year, and last year it started snowing the 20th of November and it never stopped. So I never did have time to put my tires on, but with the weight of the Salter in the back, I didn't really have any trouble with traction. But my all seasons are worn right out over the summer, and I'm putting these studded tires on tomorrow. So what I'm doing is I'm just going over these beads where the tire bead goes with wire brush, and there's not too much rust. They're in pretty good shape actually, but a little bit of paint keeps any rust or oxidization, and this can prevent prevents rim leaks. So, and I bought 16-inch. That's what I got. The tires on the truck right now are 17s, but I tried one of these rims last fall. I'm gonna cut that valve stem off too. Don't ever change a tire and leave the old valve stem in, because right down in here, look at all the rust in there. So what happens is the lack of pressure allows the little particles of rust to drop down in there, and then you got to get in there and wire brush it. And in fact, I use I'm using my new favorite tool there, my Black & Decker 1967 with a wire brush, and then I go with this afterwards. You got to have the right tool for the right job. So that cleans up the hole itself. You can run a drill bit through there too, but this works better than a drill bit. Or a file. I've used that in the past. But if they're really, really rusty, go through with a drill bit. Just try and ream it out a little bit, or a reamer would be even good, just to knock the big chunks of rust off, and then wire brush it like crazy, and then dab some paint on, which I've already done the other one. So that's what it looks like after you get the beads all done, and there's the valve stem. That's the trick. I bought that tire machine because I was sick and tired of paying tire shops to change tires for me, and then a month later they're leaking again. So that's why I went ahead and bought that. I've had that for over 10 years now, and I've never had to do anything to it but hook my air hose to it and use it, and knock on wood. But it's been pretty handy considering we have so many trailers. We have I think 4 or 5 tandem trailers, so there's constantly what we should do. It would be something that would be smarter than buying a tire machine was buy brand new tires the day you need them, put them on your trailers, and then never have to worry about it. But that's not a perfect world. So I'm kind of embarrassed to show you this, but here's a tire off of one of our dump trailers. It's worn right. You think we got our money's worth out of that tire? So the axle's a little bit bent, so it's actually riding on the inside of the tire. That's on my list to fix. And hey, we got the new tires on the M5700, and we've also got some paint on this harness. I thought this would be out at our building by now, but we're having trouble with the alternator. It's not in there, so we can't bring it out there until the alternator's bolted on. We can't use it, so I said we'll hold off on floating it out there. It's really easy to float out, and we'll bring it out when we get the alternator on. No one seemed to can find parts for that alternator, and so $1,100 for a new one plus tax, and I don't know how long it would take to get. So we found a place that can rebuild it, but even that guy, I talked to him today on the phone, and he's not sure where to get the rebuild kit for it. So that's where we are with the M5700, and Kubota, it's the way to go. So we started using this heater a couple of years ago. It's 4,800 watts, so it's a pretty heavy duty heater. It's 220 volt, 240 volt right there, and a little tiny thing. It's not. It's like 12 inches by 12, and it can heat this whole shop. It's hard to believe something that small can do that, but it keeps it at around. I've got it set, I don't know, 42 degrees or so, 8 degrees Celsius. And we cranked it up on the weekend last weekend just to dry the paint on that harness because it was painted, I think, on Friday. So we had the wood stove roaring, and then we had this plugged in, turned on, so we didn't have to come back on the weekend. So there we go. And here's my ugly salt shed. It's, a tree fell twice. The top of that elm. For a company that does tree removal, it's pretty sad. The shoemaker's children have no shoes. And it fell and hit the top of that, but I'm off working, making money elsewhere, and my own trees aren't getting done. So I want to show you. Come on inside. I want to show you something. So you're seeing just what you think you are. It's as green can be. That's about as festive as it gets. Green salt. So I'm going to experiment this year. We're going to try. I've got I bought 18.34 metric tons last week. We moved it all in here because the dump truck can't make it back here. It's too small. But I had to put 3 of these blue barrels and build kind of a retaining wall. I did this a couple of years ago just to get it all in here. The salt shed needs to be bigger, but you saw it last week. It was bone dry empty. And I pulled out the last little bit of salt, filled all my salt boxes. And we're going to experiment with the green. There's supposed to be a better results with this green salt. It's supposed to work at colder temperatures, and as well, people see it. And if you throw white salt on white ice or packed snow, it's really hard to see, and it takes a few minutes for it to react and start to work. Well, this stuff, it's about as festive as you can get. You can put Christmas decorations on it. It's so green. So we're gonna see if that's gonna be better or not. I don't know. I'm hoping that it solves some of the problems with... if I throw pea stone, they seem to be happy because they can see it, but pea stone doesn't do anything. Salt does what you want. So there's what I'm up to. Look at that, it's even greener when you look at it in my salter. So I was putting some of this down. We had about 2.5 centimeters yesterday, Sunday night, Monday morning, and we had the Grey Cup. I watched it. I was kind of wishing for snow on during the Grey Cup, and this is exactly what we got. The Grey Cup's our big football game. It was Toronto against Calgary, and Toronto won. And for some reason I was rooting for Toronto because they're the underdog. Often I pick the underdog because neither one of those teams are my teams. So yeah, so my salter's in. I think I showed you that last week. Salter's working great. I'm putting up one for sale. I got an older one here I'm going to sell. Here's the one I'm going to sell. It has a 10 horsepower gas engine, but when you get down in those minus 28, minus 30, unless you have this in a heated shop and start it before you leave to go do your run, it won't stay. They have a hard time starting these motors when they're at the back of a truck going 100 kilometers an hour down the highway. So this one's going up for sale. It's in good shape. I bought it brand new about 14 years ago. I bought it on Halloween Day, October 31st. I remember because my kids were going out trick-or-treating that night, and I had to hammer it back here. We had to do a 3-hour drive each way to pick this up, and we were breaking every speed limit. And we didn't use it that much, but it's pretty heavy for a regular 3/4 ton truck. You really need to put this in a dual-wheel truck, so that's why it's not in something right now. Oh, here's another little salter. Before we had our little power sidewalk salter, this is what we used to do the walkways. It's an e-poke. I call it the e-poke, but got your settings on the side from 1 to 10, and it's a drop salter, so the little bar on top agitates the packed stuff, and then the pipe down below has got little tabs on it. It's hard to see because it's so rusty. There you can see the little tabs. And they're supposed to drop, and it really works fantastic. It works great, but it's over $1,000 for that thing. But The truck I bought, it's a dual wheel truck. I haven't showed you yet. I'm supposed to pick it up tonight, actually. And it's coming with a brand new 8-foot Salter with an electric motor. So I played with the idea of pulling that motor off that Salter, putting a 3/4 or a 1 horsepower electric DC motor. Runs off the battery of the truck. And I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to sell the Salter and try and get some money out of it. And this new one is a stainless steel Salter. I'm going to show it to you. And probably next week. And it's going to be... you know, you don't have to worry about it starting. It could be the coldest day of the year and that thing will run. So there's my studded tires. You can see they got 4 rows of studs. There's only a few studs on the middle 2 rows. There's one every 6 or 8 inches. But on the outside edges, they're almost every hole's got one. So we're allowed to use studded tires, so in this area, so I'm going to take advantage of it. It's hard on the roads, but I think we have a window of time we're allowed to have them, and you can be fined, and it's a huge fine. I think it's March 15th, so that would be the last day you have to have them off, and the first day you can put them on, I think, is November 15th, or it could be December 15th. I'm not sure. I'd have to check on that, but these will be ready to go on. I think I'm going to go ahead and put them on, even if it's December 15th. I don't think they enforce it as long as there's snow on the ground, and there's snow on the ground right now, so they're going on as soon as I get them mounted on rims. I just don't have valve stems today, so I got to go pick some up. So there, I'm walking by this thing every day, and when I spend a lot of time in the shop, it annoys me that I can't do what I want with this, but we'll have time over the winter. I'm hoping it doesn't snow every day like last year. And we'll get a few little jobs done on it. I want to build a cover for back here. I just vacuumed. I cleaned everything out yesterday. And it was just covered in chips. So I have been using it. And I oiled it up. You know, I used to think these surfaces were the surfaces you really got to focus on oiling and so on. You got to oil these edges as well. Because... there's a lot of wear on these flat edges, so it's only a small lathe, but this is just a fantastic little lathe. I love it for little jobs. And then I've got my big one at home if I want to use that one. So, no, it's not plugged in. Well, there we go. At least I oiled it all up. I oiled the gears over here yesterday with some gear oil. It's all fresh. You can just see it's glistening. It's so nice. And yep. So that's it. That's a little tiny update of what I'm up to. We're slowly getting in shape for winter, but seems to be taking a long time. Thanks for watching.